Today I'm going to read Spectacular Spring by Bruce Goldstone. And this is a book, it says all kinds of spring facts and fun. This is a really neat book, but when I read it, I'm not going to read the whole thing because there's actually a whole lot of words. So I'm just going to read parts of it. And that's what I like about nonfiction books, is we can read parts of it and then we can come back to other parts later. Says spring is a season of spectacular beginnings. Green plants and colorful flowers begin to grow. Animals shake off the cold of winter. People start spending more time outdoors. Days get longer and nights get shorter. See, these headings here point out that this information is going to tell me more about days getting longer. So if I wanted more information about or more details about days getting longer, I can come back later and read about this. And then if I wanted more information about nights getting shorter, I can come back here. But I'm going to take a look at some of the other pages. Days begin to get warmer. At the start of spring, you might still wear a sweater, a scarf, and warm gloves. Oh, they also have a hat here too. So your clothes get lighter. As the days begin to get warmer, you won't need so many heavy layers, but you might put on a raincoat and boots. Waterproof clothing helps keep you dry when it rains. Winter snow stops falling and spring rain starts. How do umbrellas work? Well, now that's interesting. I think I want to learn about that one. The material of an umbrella is waterproof, which means rain will bounce off instead of passing through. When you open the umbrella, the thin ribs unfold and stretch out the material to form a dome. So it looks like those are the ribs, and it forms a dome. So you can use the picture to help me with the words. Many umbrellas have an automatic spring. When you press a button, the spring releases and the umbrella pops open. Sometimes wind in a rainstorm will push up inside the umbrella. The ribs flip up and the umbrella turns inside out. You can usually tug the umbrella back into the right shape. And look, there's a picture, it's a photograph showing me exactly what's happening here. I really like that about nonfiction books. The photos tell me what's happening in the words, so it illustrates the words for me. After the rain, you might see a rainbow. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Sometimes we skip indigo and we go to violet because that's a hard word to understand, and it's kind of a mix between blue and violet or purple. Violet's another word for purple. How does spring feel? Fuzzy, wet, soft, velvety, muddy, fluffy, leafy, smooth, windy, and squishy. So here on this page, we have some pictures with labels. All these photographs with labels. So another thing that happens with nonfiction books is we can have titles. This title is a question, and then we just have pictures that's answering it with different labels. It's a good way when we're presenting information or facts that we learned. We can present our facts or details that we learn about things with pictures and labels. I like to label the pictures in my pictures. Do you do that? Do you label your pictures? Plants start to grow all over the place. Azaleas, grass, forsythia, cherry trees, dogwood trees, apple trees, magnolia trees, rhododendron. You might make connections here. Maybe you have some of these plants growing in your yard, or you've seen some of these. These would be a text to self connection if you can make these connections to things that you see in your yard, or maybe a text to world if these are some flowers that you know. You know, in Washington, D.C., there's cherry blossoms. They have a cherry blossom festival, so that would be a text to world connection. Maybe one of these is your state flower. In Virginia, the dogwood is the state flower. That's another text to world connection. Flower bulbs begin to bloom, and here we have some different flower bulbs. My family just recently went to a tulip farm, and we picked tulips. There's a text to self connection that I can make. What does spring smell like? Spring is a great time to close your eyes and sniff. Smells travel more easily in warm air than in cold air. As spring days get warmer, you'll find many fresh new smells when you walk outside. I didn't know that. It's interesting. Sprouts spring up from seeds underground. Spring rain also helps seeds begin to grow in a process called germination. Temperature, sunlight, and water need to be right for a seed to germinate. And this picture is showing us the steps of germination. Again, I don't have to read every single step. I can look at the pictures, and the pictures give me a lot of information here. Then when I want to read it again, I can come back. Seeds travel in many ways, and I can look. Oh, I do this. I blow dandelions. Ever throw these up in the air and watch them come down? We call these helicopters. Oh, I bet they go down on streams and rivers. Look, that bird has a seed in its mouth. You know, some seeds get on the back of an animal. Farmers plant new crops. It's something that happens in spring. In spring, farmers plant seeds that will grow into crops like vegetables and grains. First, they prepare the soil, then they plant or sow the seeds. It's another word for planting. They plant or sow the seeds. Water and fertilizer help crops grow into strong plants. What shape is spring? All those different shapes of spring. Kind of makes me think maybe I want to make an art picture of some shapes of spring pictures. Baby animals are often born in spring when they have plenty of food. Longer days will allow parents more time to gather food for their young. Birds make nests and lay eggs. After the eggs hatch, baby birds usually stay close to one or both of their parents. Look at all these little babies and their parents. How do baby birds hatch? I'm going to look at the pictures here. What does spring sound like? Drip, drop, cheep, tweet, pitter, patter. ba, chirp. Crack, boom. Ooh, that sounds like lightning. Whoosh, rustle. Maybe leaves. Splish, sploosh, splash, peep. Wonder, could you go outside and make a sound walk? Go in spring and see what kind of sounds you hear outside. See if you can hear some of these sounds. Some animals get moving. Warm spring weather tells some animals it's time to wake up and move. So it looks like these are some animals that have been hibernating. Animals like chipmunks, bats, bears, frogs, and toads that hibernate or sleep a lot during the winter can find more food in spring. They wake up and become more active. Birds that flew south in autumn fly north in spring. They will feed on new plants and insects and find places to nest. Little critters get busy too. Bees and other insects start flying from flower to flower. While they gather food, they also help pollinate plants. They carry pollen from one flowering plant to another, allowing the plants to make seeds. Birds, bats, and the wind carry pollen too. I see some tadpoles. This is about tadpoles. I can read that one later too. People have many ways to celebrate in spring. There's Easter and Passover, Earth Day, April Fool's Day. Look at that. That's upside down. How silly. Mother's Day, Memorial Day. Which ones do you celebrate? Or maybe you don't celebrate anything, and that's okay too. Fresh spring air gets people to open windows and clean up. Warm spring weather means we can open windows and let in some air. Many people use this time to do some spring cleaning. They tidy up indoors and out. Fresh paint can brighten a fence, porch, or door. Volunteers pitch in and help clean public places. Of course, sometimes we just open windows to enjoy a cool breeze. But I will say, though, I know my mother doesn't like to open up the windows because she has asthma and allergies. And that really bothers her. I bet some of you guys have allergies too and have to really be careful about the spring air, huh? When all the year's beginnings have begun, spectacular spring turns into super summer. Is that what's next? It is. Some spectacular spring activities. Look, you can make fantasy flowers, dirt for dessert, hand lambs. That looks like fun. It looks flowers out of tissue paper, like some pudding and cookie crumbs and some gummy worms, cotton balls, and handprints out of construction paper, seed jars, mud painting, a rain stick. That's really neat. I like this book because then it also gives you instructions on how to make these things. Now this is a scholastic book you could check out at the library. It's a really neat book.